All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Debate Club. So, the Debate Club is a platform where we have healthy debates and discussions every week on various topics. The topic for this week is increase in divorce numbers in India is a good sign of cultural shift. Agree or disagree? But before I set the context for this debate, Raghav has a little announcement for all of us, so I'll let him do that. Please, Raghav.
All right. Thanks, Rose. For those of you who don't know, I'm the founder of the Debate Club, and I've been absent for a few sessions because of personal, I've been busy. But I just wanted to make a quick announcement regarding some changes that we've been having in the past, in the recent weeks, let's say. So one of the changes is that like we've kind of like minimized, we've kind of pruned certain channels from our WhatsApp community, and we only have like the brainstorming session, brainstorming channel, and then the Vivada channel. Vivada is basically our text based like exchange on debates, but predominantly we want to focus on live sessions like these ones. So we want to do this, but for text based debates, like we've created a new channel of communication, which is our subreddit. So I've just posted a link to the subreddit that we have. This is the official subreddit of the Debate Club India. And if you have any kind of like topic that you want to discuss, our WhatsApp channel is not going to be the best place. It's a place to like have quick exchange. But if you want to have like an elaborate discussion on a specific topic, I would recommend that you post it on our subreddit. So go there and make a post, and let's actually try to make it active so that like we can be discovered by other people. So that's one update. The other thing is that I think we should start making it. There was some a lot of discussion in the text channels regarding some changes to be brought to the session format and things like that. So one of the quick changes that we're going to bring about is like we're going to stop the recording at the 1.5 hour mark. So usually we go from 11 a.m. to like 12:30 p.m. and we have the unmoderated session. So I think we should stop the recording at 12:30, and then we'll have unmoderated and unrecorded sessions where people can even turn on their videos and they can speak freely without having the pressure of being recorded. Because I think some people have expressed concern over the privacy aspect and those things. So we'll go from 11 to 12:30 in a recorded, moderated session, and after that, it's going to be unrecorded and unmoderated, and we can have more social exchange about the topic as well as other things pertaining to that. And that's going to basically like bring a certain privilege to people who stay on in the live sessions, and the recordings would still document some of the discourse that is happening on the topic. But after the 12:30 session, we have like more free space to socialize as well. Um, so yeah, this is going to start from this session, from today's session. And yeah, that's about all the updates that I had. And there are more things that I'll be talking about. Maybe in the unmoderated session, I'll talk about some of the other things that we have planned. But for now, I think we can go ahead and start.
All right. Thank you so much, Raghav. So I highly encourage everybody to go check out the subreddit and make that communication channel active as well. And now moving on with the debate for this week. It is increase in divorce numbers in India is a good sign of cultural shift. Agree or disagree? So the people who are on the pro stance of this debate argue that changing social norms in Indian society is a good thing. It takes away the strong stigma that is attached to divorce in Indian culture. And rise in divorce numbers is something that hints towards more progressive attitude in Indians. And there is also women empowerment and rising divorce rate signify that women who are financially empowered and properly educated are choosing to leave unhappy or abusive marriages. And there is also the effect of urbanization and modern lifestyles, which come with high levels of stress and working hours, which and people go into these kind of marriages with a lot of expectations emotionally. And when these are not met, there is a collapse of marriage, which is not necessarily a bad thing, just an effect of uh, a co-product of modern lifestyle. And then there is also evolving gender roles. So previously we had very strict and restrictive gender roles in Indian society, but the kind of progress we are making in terms of education and the kind of attitudes we are adopting, these roles are evolving, and this is a good thing, but sometimes these may also contribute to divorces. And then there are people who are on the constance. They do not agree that this is a good cultural shift because it impacts the family structure. Divorces and increase in divorces basically is a breakdown of families, if you look at it that way. And the breakdown of families affects not only the partners financially, emotionally, and psychologically. It also affects the children, right? And if there are kids who are not completely developmentally involved, it sometimes traumatizes them, right? Even though it's not such a bad divorce, especially when after divorce there is co-parenting going on, and the co-parenting does not necessarily work out in the way it was intended to. It really affects the children involved, right? And then there is social stigma and pressure. As much as we are adopting these progressive attitudes when it comes to divorce, it does not mean that all the stigma attached to it has vanished. There is still a lot of stigma in a lot of places in India, and there is societal pressure. So there is a lot of mental, emotional, and psychological pressure that divorcees face, men and women. And then there is economic burden. This especially happens when one of the partners was financially dependent on the other partner. So it results in a lot of hardship. And then most people who are very traditionally anchored consider divorce as a breakdown of cultural and religious values. And India has always been a country of tradition and culture, right? So the breakdown of tradition and culture and religious values in such a country for people with constance on such a topic, it just means that this is a depletion of what India is at its core. So with that context in place, I will now declare this debate open. People who wish to speak will have to raise their hands using the reaction button. Prince, please go ahead.
Yeah, so first of all, great context, but I would just like to add to the context that in India we do need these kind of normalizing steps for divorces, because BBC reported that in 2018 a survey was conducted with 160,000 people, and out of them 93% people said that they are arranged, and 2% said they were quote unquote love come arranged. Their marriage was love come arranged. I don't know what that means, but each to their own. So when a majority of the Indians are not even getting a say in deciding their own partner, then how do we expect a person to live their whole lives just based on a decision that their uh, parents or elders took out of nowhere with hypothetical standards? And you rightly said that children often suffer when the parents get divorced, but according to me, children suffer more due to being in broken marriages, because children learn about love through their parents. They kind of not in a true sense, but almost copy paste the love they see their parents, the love they see between their parents, and this this state of being in a broken house and not divorced is gonna scar these children emotionally for their whole lives. So we are not talking about just one generation. This stigma of just making a marriage work just for the sake of it, because of the ideas that India and Hinduism mostly works upon. This this forced marriage is gonna scar not just this generation, but the generation even after that, and it could lead to a great tear into the social fabric. I mean, we are seeing the manifestation of those steps by people using these divorce laws for their own benefits. We have seen the recent case of the Bangalore techie. I don't want to name him, but these kind of steps do emerge because people don't really know what love is, and that is the job of the parents to teach them through their actions, through the mutual love that they both have for each other. Additionally, I think these kind of progressive steps do kind of give at least a sense of independence, not only to women, to men too. I mean, not all men are happy in their relationships or their marriages, and I guess they also deserve a chance to, maybe find love. Let's say a person in India on an average is getting married by 23 to 25. I'm talking about rural India because most of us live there. So a person should not be, that decision should not, he should not have to carry that decision throughout his life. Maybe he changed, maybe, when he grew, his opinions and ideas change, and they should at least have that option. Yeah, Rose.
Thank you so much, Prince. I very much agree with the points you made that both men and women deserve a chance at love. And of course, yes, like that's a very, very valid argument that children from broken homes suffer a lot more than children whose parents are divorced, right? Because it's better to have divorced parents than parents who should have divorced, right? Because that is something you are going to carry on for the rest of your life. Children, especially at young ages, they're just monkey see, monkey do, and if they develop a distorted image of love at that age, it's probably going to get carried forward for generations. So, thank you so much, Prince. Raghav, please go ahead.
Yeah, so great points made by Prince. I think, see, there are like, this is a very nuanced topic. I think that it's not even limited to just this aspect. There are like multiple broader themes that are involved in this discussion. I just want to set the context for this. First of all, obviously, it would be great to not have the stigma against divorce, so that like people would make that decision on the basis of the quality of the marriage, and they have to make a pro and con, cost. It's like a cost benefit analysis, but for the uh, for the option of staying in a marriage versus like leaving the marriage, because obviously getting into a marriage and leaving a marriage both have their own risks, right? If you're marrying somebody, you're going from being single to getting married. There are a lot of compromises that you have to make to actually make the decision a valid one, right? Because you're losing your individual freedom and you're getting into a marriage. And if the person that you're doing that for is valuable enough, then that marriage makes sense, right? Similarly, when you're leaving a marriage,
I'm
you have to make this
sorry to
similar.
interrupt, but your audio got cut off in between. I'm not sure if it was just for me.
uh, was everybody else able to hear me?
Yeah, pretty clear.
Okay,
Yeah.
maybe it was just euros. Okay, so what I was saying is that when you're getting into a marriage, you have to um, make the analysis between what is the what are you compromising for it, and what are you getting out of it. Similarly, when you're leaving a marriage, you have to make that on a case by case basis. This is not something that is like a general standard that you have to abide by. You have to make sure that you're making a decision for yourself, and with the complete consideration of all the things that make that decision a meaningful one in the context of the individual case, right? There is no general guideline as to when somebody should leave a marriage or get married even. So that decision has to be made, and obviously in a country like India, where there are excessive social regulation by other people, there is an increased level of social slavery in this country, where people are often making decisions in order to abide by the expectations placed upon them by others. And and that social slavery aspect is a larger issue here, and you don't measure the progress in that by counting the number of divorces. Okay, that is not how you measure the progress in terms of the diminishing stigma against divorce. Obviously, we need to minimize the stigma against divorce so that people can make that decision on an individual case by case analysis. um, but you don't measure the progress in that by measuring the number of divorces. So I think that's the nuance that I wanted to bring here, because obviously the title of the debate is that, the topic of the debate is that increasing divorce rates is good, right? It's not good. It's but diminishing stigma is good. I think people are making the correlation that increasing divorce will lead to decreasing stigma because of the large number of people who are doing it. It must be normalized, and therefore the stigma will diminish. I think that's a distant correlation. I think what we need to do is, first of all, take a step back and examine the reasons why there is a stigma, right? In a country like India, there is so much conformity. There is so much, like I said, the social slavery aspect. There's so much conformity that if you do anything that deviates from the norm, you're stigmatized and you're penalized for it. And that is the reason why divorce is a stigma, because the divorce is not the norm. So therefore, if you take a divorce, then you are stigmatized because you're not part of the larger herd, right? And that mentality has to go, and people have to start living for themselves. People have to start prioritizing their personal freedom, personal well-being, and start making decisions for themselves. And if they keep doing that, divorce is not even going to be a topic of discussion. People are going to make that decision based on what is working for them, what is not working for them, um, instead of this being the central topic of the discussion. So I don't know if I made my stance clear. I think I brought in several things together, and maybe it's all jumbled, but I hope at least some of what I was saying is clear. I think the topic is just more nuanced than straight up increased divorce equals good or bad. I just want to bring in the different dimensions that we have to consider before having a stance on this topic.
Thank you, Raghav. I agree with most of what you said, that the major issue at hand is not the divorce rates, because obviously, like if you look at it from a monotonous perspective, increased divorce rates are not something to be proud of. But at the same time, the stigma that we have attached to divorces in India is the bigger problem. And again, the way you talk about it, like social slavery, that really is a major issue in India. Abhay, please go ahead.
Abhay, you're on mute.
Okay, sorry. So, thank you for giving me this kind of opportunity. So my point is, this kind of cultural shifts with regards to, as getting uh, numbers of, diversity cases is rising day by day, affect the society as a whole. How? From for nowadays, like it becomes a nail bit. Like you can find the love in this in the mobile applications, in so-called social media applications. So it becomes, in the few seconds we get the love, and we get affected by, get affection to the someone else. So so there is a some sort of the hairline difference between the love and the affection. And then people are getting married because of this kind of affection, and then they they regret about that decision, and this makes the condition even worse. So before getting married to any person or an individual, we have to think holistically, rather than just getting attracted by this kind of mobile application and this kind of, and social media.
Uh, are you done, Abhay?
Yes, yes.
All right, thank you so much. Keshav, please go ahead.
So as Raghav was saying that we have to first look for the right partner, then only dedicate our life towards that. So I think that it's a good way. But if we look at the divorce rates, right? So some people say that it's like not a good measure to look at how the society is growing. But imagine if like divorce is not an option, and I'm not talking about some extreme cases. I'm talking about moderate cases. So if in a moderate case, if you have some other option, like you have a plan B, so you will always have that plan B in your mind whenever some little bit things are not working out. Some people have this kind of approaches, right? So they don't really try to fix that, and they as you know, some people, it's a saying that a lot much education is also harmful, right? So if you are knowing the plan B, that we can even get a divorce out of this, then you are not fixing that first thing. I'm talking about the commitments. So it's like you are declining willingness to work through the challenges in a relationship. So if divorce divorce should be taken in extreme cases, like I think Prince also said that Atul Subhash case, and those cases are definitely a thing to consider. But talking about the like small things, like every one of us has felt like why our parents are fighting all the time like this, and then after some fights they are normal now. Maybe you are the reason they are normal again, or maybe you did something stupid and now they both are shouting at you, and they are like back at it. So I think the loss of commitment will come if the divorce rates are increasing. And uh, yes, if you are unhappy with the marriage, then it's all right. So it's yes, that's it.
Thank you, Keshav, but I personally might have to disagree on a couple of points you made. One is that I do not think that most people think of divorce as an option B or a plan B. I cannot talk for everybody, but I personally am of the opinion that most people do not see it like that. And talking about moderate cases, not the extreme ones, like you said, I don't think people get a divorce over fights or anything, right? Because fights are normal in the most healthiest marriages. And the thing is that what you or I think of as moderate, some other person may not think of that specific issue inside of their marriage as moderate because people are different. They are individuals with different expectations. So, what might be a little thing for you and me might be something of utmost priority for that other person who is inside of that marriage, right? So I think most people do not think of divorce as a plan B. But what I would like to say is that to think of divorce as an exit door if that said marriage is becoming detrimental to your well-being. That's what I had to say. I'll now let Prince go ahead.
Yeah. First of all, great points by all the previous speaker. I'll start by adding to what Rose said. Divorce in India is actually not option B, it's option Z. That's the last thing you do before suicide. Now, first of all, Raghav rightly pointed out great things, but I guess the issue that arises with divorce in India is that individualism and anti-status quo behavior is seen as a sin in India. You can't be an individualist in India, you can't be an anti-status quoist because those things are seen as some kind of rebellion that's going to destroy the whole social fabric and social cohesion, which actually it's not. We have seen in Western countries as well as in some of the Oriental states that at the end of the day, it helps in the social progress of the nation. Now, definitely, the increasing divorce rates are a cultural shift, but it is a bad sign if you want to make sure that patriarchy is alive. It is a bad sign if you want to enslave women or trap them in some kind of relationships, as I guess it was Abhay who said, you are the reason they are together. I mean, it is a pretty common fact. I'm not stating something extraordinary here. most of the Indian parents are together because they have children and they are kind of trapped into the relationship. Now, additionally, I don't remember, but someone said that we can get love in 30 minutes, but it's actually affection, and people end up marrying due to that 30-minute encounter on any dating app or whatever. So, as I've already said, most of the people, almost all the people in India are married through the arranged setting. What happens in an arranged marriage? Is it not just a one-hit wonder? You meet once, uh, 1 hour at best, and then you decide that you're going to spend the whole life with them or not. Um, how are both the cases different? Here you are meeting on an online platform. There you meet the person, meet them in person. But the duration that you are taking to judge a person is almost the same. Uh, Although that's a different case, we'll go there when we will. And onto the challenges part, that people are not ready to take on the challenges that comes in a marriage. Of course, if you are committed to someone, then you should take up those challenges and you should try to make a relationship work. But till what point? I've stated this again and again, and I'll state it again. The NFHS survey says that physical and domestic violence in India is about 37.2%, whereas divorce rate is 1.5% to 3% at max. But how is this kind of correlatable? You are encouraging people to face challenges. Then is physical violence a challenge that they should face and make sure that their relationship sticks through that? Is sexual violence is a case where you want the people to kind of stick together even after those horrendous cases? Because almost more than one third of people are facing these kind of violences, and I'm taking very extreme situations and very extreme cases. But even after these extreme cases, the divorce rate is at 3% at max. So it's just that the social stigma in India is so that, as I said, divorce is option Z, the last thing that you can do before offing yourself. Yeah, Rose.
Rightly said, Prince. Like, obviously, every relationship, every marriage comes with its own set of challenges and own set of expectations coming from both sides, from both the partners. But where do you draw a line? I think the answer to that question comes in two pointers. One is where you draw the line at a standard level, that is domestic violence or sexual violence inside of a marriage or financial violence, right? This is where you generally draw a line, right? Even if you stay within a marriage and something like that is happening to you and you cannot opt for a divorce, you somewhere in the back of your mind know that this is not okay and this is probably um, the point where you should do something about it, right? Like rebel against it, talk about it, talk to people, right? Even if it's not a divorce, this is generally where you draw the line. And then there is another line to be drawn because you entered this relationship, this marriage with a set of expectations from your side and a set of expectations from your partner's side. And when there are things that are non-negotiables for one or both of the partners, that is where an a line is drawn at an individual level that this was a priority for me, this was a non-negotiable, which I cannot compromise on no matter how much I try. Then again, it becomes another ground for divorce. So that is what I needed to put out there. Is there anybody who would like to speak next? Yes, please, Mahadev.
Yeah, hello everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you for giving this opportunity. I feel that it's good to be here because I am recently engaged. Uh, okay. Uh, there are a few things I want to point out. Apart from this patriarchy and matriarchy, uh, in my all of these are personal opinions, so no assumptions. Uh, any bride or bridegroom who is going to marriage, who is going to get married, should know the essence of marriage. Oh, what's the essence of marriage? To create yourself. The love, the decision to get married comes from the companionship. You, if you are always getting the companionship of your co-partner, then you take the decision to get married, and after marriage, you create yourselves through other child, other branch. This is the process happening since ages. I hope I am audible, right? Okay.
Mahadev, yes, you're audible. Please.
Okay. Uh, but the problem is arising when, as many of the people said, lack of commitment, non-negotiable issues, social slavery, and uh, declining willingness to the work through the challenges in the commitment. The problem is arising because there is no, uh, as per my knowledge, there is no freedom of thought and action given to the co-partner. That's the main reason for breakdown in marriages or other family structure or something. Why the freedom of thought and action is not given? Because it's the female has to deal with all the internal household activities, and male has to do with the expenses. I don't mean to berate something. This is the system we have been following since ages. So while all these things, if we are not clear about why we are getting marriage, so some questions arise after getting marriage. Why did I do? I am not clear about. So when I don't have an answer, violence becomes an answer. Suppose if I don't have an answer, when wife asks something in very strong manner, violence becomes an answer. After violence, all this social structure enters into the picture of marriage, like marriage registration certificate, physical abuse, loss, all these things. So so before getting marriage, we need to have a strong stance of why are we getting married, and why do we need a companionship of the why do we need the companionship of a co-partner? Is it worthwhile, as Mr. Raghav said? And based on our behavior only, we are giving this the our children the distorted image of love, and setting the context for the future using the tradition. And moreover, and also one point, also other point I would like to point out is this tradition and culture we are discussing here. They're not to be enforced, isn't it? uh, they have been enforced due to they have been enforced due to they have been enforced due to this imbalance in the system of marriage, arised because there was no proper boundary between the companionship. And the reason is social slavery. How can we eliminate the social slavery is the current question. uh, the only thing we can do is getting more awareness of the culture or awareness of the marriage system ecosystem happening all around the world, and making the two partners more uh, more compatible to each other using the few practices discussed in psychology or something else. So I would like to suggest, and one more thing is, since our childhood we have been accustomed to the system. Okay, this person has to do marriage after getting some engage. This system, we need to question this system and get the proper answers before getting married. That's what the solution I would like to point out. Okay, thank you for giving this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Keshav. I understand your perspective on the topic, but I did not necessarily understand what you meant when, you said that when there is no specific answer to a partner on their question, then violence becomes the answer. Because the way I see it, violence, coming from the husband or the wife is a decision. Unless somebody is mentally unstable and has lost control over their body, Violence is not the answer. I do not know. I don't know. I may be misunderstanding anything. Do you mind giving clarity on that?
Like suppose let's see our grandfather and grandmother. If my grandmother relentlessly asks some question, grandfather wants to escape that question because he doesn't know the answer of it. So he has the liberty of slapping her. Since this has been practiced since ages, that's what I would like. I had intended to imply there.
I see. So if somebody's partner asks them a difficult question or a question that may be a little out of hand, so if the other partner does not have the answer to it, so violence becomes an escape.
Yeah. So to answer the question, he need to know the essence of the relationship. That's what the whole discussion I want like to make out.
I see. But do you agree with that kind of decision making on the part of the wife or the husband?
Do you mind which come again? Which kind of decision?
So let's say you ask, this is just an example, not to get personal. Let's say you're married and you have a wife, you ask her something that offends her and she does not have the answer to it. Do you appreciate if she makes a decision to go for violence just to escape that situation?
See, nowadays we are updated with the trends, so we need to learn. We have cultivated learning the patience to sustain the relationship. So definitely, I will wait for the opportune time and make her understand something to make a progressive part of the relationship. O- o- our goal is to carry forward the relationship rather than breaking it out. When we get breakout, when we are not aware of the value of relationship, that's what
I see,
so
that makes more sense. So I was just asking, do you condone violence? Like,
see, I can't make any general statement.
do you
it,
personally
it
condone violence?
no, actually I'm follower of Gandhi. I don't condone violence.
Okay, yeah, that's what I wanted to understand because I get what you were trying to say, but then it sounded a little different than what you may have intended it to sound like. So that was the clarity I was looking for. Thank you. Prince, you can go ahead.
Yeah. First of all, congrats, Mahadev. You rightly pointed out some issues that we are accustomed to some kind of things, and even though those are not actually our customary things, because we as a civilization, as a culture, have always been known to worship women, and there have been some corruptions into the whole culture through different acculturation, and that has led to this negative side of humanity being called an accustomed thing. Now, one of the issues that comes with this whole physical violence thing is the whole idea of considering both women and men. In some, there are different cases, but considering your partner an object or some kind of uh, uh, some kind of material to obtain utility from, and that kind of mindset, according to me, leads to these kind of extreme situations, because a person kind of commands authority over the other, and this generalization or normalization of divorces could kind of act as a deterrent in that way, that people people would want to and try to, be more be more be better partners at least, and that could, I guess, be one of the first steps to, of course, making a better culture. Yeah, Rose.
Thank you so much, Prince. Utkarsh, please go ahead.
Yeah, so I've heard all of the diverse perspectives that the participants have introduced and or pointed out, and I would like to introduce another perspective of the dowry system that has existed throughout across the ancient from the ancient times. The dowry system has existed both in both in India as well as in Nepal, where I reside in. So, although I cannot directly relate to the culture of India, since I am from Nepal, but I think the dowry practice that exists in both of these countries is also a significant factor that can contribute towards the increase or decrease of divorce rates in both of these countries. And there is a question, or there exists a question whether the dowry system still exists in different regions in India, and if it does, then how much does that practice contribute towards the increase or decrease of divorce rates in India?
Thank you so much, Utkarsh. I think it is a known fact that dowry violence is, especially in India. I do not know what the situation is like in Nepal, but in India, I think dowry is a big, big reason behind cases of assault and violence inside of a marriage, right? So, if personally speaking, if dowry violence becomes a cause for rising divorce rates in India, I think that is a good cultural shift, like personally speaking, because now we are somewhat moving towards alleviating a problem that has been haunting our country for centuries, if you will. So thank you so much for bringing in that perspective, Utkarsh. Is there anybody who would like to go next? Okay, I see Abhay. Please go ahead.
Okay, so many people are mentioning that that the women are getting educated and they know that what are their personal rights and liberties, and getting divorce is good signs that they can after that enjoy the liberty and freedom. But in our Indian society, there are few Malaika Arora and Natasha that can enjoy the um, post divorce period, and the rest of the 99% of women has to bear the brunt of the society. Even her own father treat him like a liability. That and even in the Muslim, to remarry that Muslim woman through the process of nikah halala is totally horrific. So I think this kind of to romanticizing the divorce and this kind of thing, it's affect the society as a whole, because we humans are something entangled by the society itself. We are not the animals, that sleep, eat, and procreate and repeat. We are something that bound by the society, that love, compassion, humanity. It's something attached to ourselves. So at the larger extent, it will affect the society as a whole.
Thank you, Abhay. I understand your perspective on that, but I don't think divorce is something to be romanticized or is romanticized, especially in India. Instead, it is quite stigmatized, right? So that's what I wanted to put out there. I see Prince raising his hand. Please go ahead.
Yeah, great points. Firstly, Utkarsh, nice to know you're from Nepal. Huge love, man. Uh, of course, the cultural relationship between Nepalis and Indians. Uh, of course, the issue of dowry is same throughout, I would say, South Asia, not even India and Nepal. Firstly, it's called gifts, not dowry in modern times. And as Rose rightly said, that if dowry is becoming one of the reasons for these kind of divorces, then it's not exactly a welcome step, but yeah, it could be one of the steps to get rid of this evil practice. On to the personal rights part, that women are getting educated and they are now aware of their personal rights. It's not just personal rights, it's basic civic human rights. No one is romanticizing divorce. We are just trying to not stigmatize it. It is not something that is appreciated or that should be done by each and every couple, but it should be an option for the people who are suffering from heavy abuse, both physical and verbal, from their partners. And to the point that a lot of women have to face the brunt of society and the whole halala system, and uh, uh, the financial dependence that women face in these times. So yes, of course, uh, marriage is a decision, divorce is a decision. Both comes with their own pros and cons. A majority of people who are married are comparatively not happy with their decisions. A majority of people who divorce are also comparatively not happy with their decisions. But it's just is minus 10 better than minus 20. People know that they're going to face hardships, but we should also realize that even after knowing that they are going to face several hardships in the current orthodox Indian society, if people are still ready to take the decision, then we need to assess that what level of abuse those 1 to 2 to 3% women are facing at max. Now, onto the part of financial independence. It was an issue several years ago, but at the present stage, when PLFS 20 financial year 23 report claims that the unemployment rate is same for men and women, so the financial independence is kind of we are taking steps towards the financial independence of women, and this should not be one of the, I mean, it is the same as trapping someone in a marriage, right? They should be trapped in a marriage, either male or female, just because they can't afford to get out of it. And I mean, that's how the stigmatization of divorce work. You kind of make the women face so much hardship, the ones who have divorced their partners. You make them go so much hardships that uh, it becomes kind of an example for the other women, as the previous speaker was saying, that don't do divorce because this is the situation that you have to go through. And at the same time, both men and women are well aware of the decisions they're taking. So I think let's not patronize them. They are aware of the hardship that will come with divorces. And again, if they're taking the same decision after knowing that also, that then I guess we as a society needs to look into the whole institution of marriage and how it is failing so many men and women at the same time. Lastly, I'll just say that uh, let's not make it a case where we say to women that there is a common saying in Hindi that you go in a dolly, but you'll come back to your parental house in Arthi, which is like a corpse, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, something along that level. So this
Yeah,
should
it's
not
a
be a
kind of
case.
coffin, I guess.
Yeah. So that should not be the case. At least give them an option to live. Yeah, Rose.
Right. Thank you so much, Prince. I very much agree with everything you said. I see Narendran raising his hand. Please go ahead.
Hi everyone. This is my first time in this group, so thanks for this opportunity and love the learning here. Um, so I think I'm going to possibly add more to what Prince was saying, and also connecting to what Raghav was saying. I think the topic is about diverse number being a good sign. Of course, we can fixate on different parts of this, statement. Increase in diverse numbers in India is a good sign of the cultural shift. I'm going to align with Raghav's stance here and fixate on the diverse number here. And my stance on this is that I disagree that diverse number is a good sign. And from listening to most of the arguments, I think many of us would agree, but would like to hear more on this. Now, my reasoning for that is that, I mean, diverse number is not a good sign, or even a metric we should consider as a sign for cultural shift. But I 100% agree that the ability to do diverse, to get out of abusive relationships, that should be there. It should be socialized, it should be destigmatized, and should absolutely be considered a possibility after making use of all, like, our regular levers on making the relationship work. To the point of like Rose bringing up, like, moderate versus extreme. It's the role of the parents, seniors in the society to tell that what is workable, what's not workable. That onus falls on the senior people in the community. Because once again, we all of us agree that a stable relationship, stability of marriage is important for a long-term health of the society. So hopefully it made the difference. So I think the TLDR is a diverse number is not a good sign. It should be a measure. We should keep tracking it and all that, but it should not be used as a metric for a good sign. What should be is destigmatization would be the best sign of cultural shift. I have a few more points, but I would love to hear from others.
Thank you, Narendran. I agree with the point that you made that looking at a divorce rate is not a measure that we need to look at if we are talking about what kind of cultural shift we are having. If we are actually going to look at if we are having a positive cultural shift, we have to look at what rate is the stigmatization of divorce is going down, right? So I very much agree with that. And I think when you said that you would like to know more about why most of us here are talking about it in a positive light, like increasing divorce rate, the why of us thinking of it as a positive thing. It's because previously the reason marriages in India were prolonged or working out were mostly for the wrong reasons. I wouldn't say all marriages, but most. One, because most, if not all, in the previous generations, these marriages were arranged. Not that we've got a problem with arranged marriages, but rightly pointed out by Prince, it was like a one-hit wonder. You do not know what kind of person you're talking about, the kind of upbringing he has had, he or she, and what kind of expectations, because you're not, I don't think any normal person from such a conservative society in the first meeting with his or her potential spouse would go all in about their expectations. And meeting up and talking before marriage is considered something not very appropriate in such a culture. And then we have seen so many examples. Unfortunately, some of us, in cases of our own grandparents who have been involved in cases of domestic violence, sometimes other kinds of violence, including dowry violence, verbal violence, and the like, right? And these people did not have the option to exit the marriage. And right now, we do have that option. And due to that, there is a sudden surge in divorces. So, in that light, due to all of these things being in place as the context, that is the reason why most of us are thinking of it as a positive thing. Although some of us may not agree that this is something we need to look out for if we are talking about a positive cultural shift. So I think that might answer your question.
Yes, maybe, and I just shared a link. Let me take a few more seconds on this. So the top reasons for increasing divorce rate in India, they list out like 10 reasons. Once again, I do not know the verity of this particular website, but they talk about divorce rate in India. And if you scroll down a bit, you can see the top 10 reasons why people are, getting divorced. Lack of communication, financial problems, emotional breakdown of relationship. I'll take a few more seconds. Lack of trust, different values, unhappiness, insecurity, wanting to be independent, erratic work schedule, alcohol, and smoking. Now, so the question comes down to, once again, like, what is a moderate versus extreme here, right? And once again, I would love to have seen the distribution among these reasons on why people are getting divorced. I don't think they have that stat here. But would would we agree that not all of these reasons are worth, of course, to each their own, but how many of these do we think are coachable? And that if both of them involved in the divorce are able to improve on each of these or any of these, they're applying for the divorce, it's good for the society overall. So personal coaching versus just going for divorce directly.
I agree with you. Like, I personally do not think all of what you stated is, a valid reason for divorce, but then that is my individual perspective. Like, if I went to an arranged marriage with my prime expectation being that I am a stay-at-home mom, and the prime thing I expect from my husband is financial stability. So, what makes it not worth it to walk away once that financial stability is gone, right? Because this was not something that was in the first place based on love and affection. So again, like you pointed out very rightly, that to each their own. There are certain things that can be generalized as a bottom line for everybody. That is violence and everything that comes along the line of that, along the lines of that. But then there are also personal expectations that are different for everybody. Like, for example, personally, I could compromise a little on somebody's financial stability, but never on time and communication. So the moment my partner is a little financially unstable, I might be able to take it, and that's not a valid grounds for divorce for me. But then the moment there is no time and communication going on, for me that becomes red.
చెప్పాను కదా సరదాగా
Mahadev?
బయటికి వెళ్ళాలి సరే
Mahadev? Mahadev, please remember to be on mute when you're not speaking. Thank you very much. So I think that is the point I wanted to make. Okay, there are things that can be generalized as a reason for divorce for everyone, but there are also like personal non-negotiables. What do you think, Narendran? Was it Narendran who was speaking? Yes.
Yes, yeah, that is me. Yeah, I think, I mean, if we take each of these cases, it could look like, erratic work schedule. For someone like me, it would look like, hey, that's fixable. But we do not know how much of a factor that is and how much of it is not workable in, in those situations. So it goes by situation. And if you agree that each of these are like extreme, then yes, yeah, I agree with the point.
Right. Is there anybody who would like to speak next? Yes, please, Keshav.
So I was saying that first of all, like the previously what I said, you were saying that you don't agree to that, and I understand, as actually I meant in as we saw the case studies also, there are more of divorces in love marriages than arranged marriages, and this is mainly because, as if a bride or groom, whoever agrees to what the parent choices are, then they should be like, they are undermining their choices, or they are just compromising uh, just for the sake of their family choices. So it will, first of all, it will make them like they are having no control of their emotions, or they have to adjust it somehow, as their parents have uh, given him or her emotional some conditionings to that. And I also see that most of the cases are of divorce rate is in love marriages, as you have chosen your partner, so you have also also mm, this right to get out of this relation. So this another thing is that if you are in a love marriage, right, then there are small things also that which lead to that, as someone mentioned, plan Z, right? Because you don't look at the current prospect. You just accumulate all the list of whatever things he or she might have done wrong, and that list goes and goes bigger, and then you decide to get out of the uh, marriage. So first thing is that there should be like enough of time and uh, in a relation before getting to a marriage, as most of the time we draw our best self in front of our partner, and like we groom well, we do all the good things um, just for the 30 minutes, like I think Prince said that, for the 30-minute interaction. So uh, if we normalize this long term first getting to know each other, it should be long enough, as I have seen that most of the arranged marriages are like uh, not only 30 minutes, they also give time to talk to each other. But you know what, if they if they are uh, if they are like small, like for a 1 week or 2 weeks, then they only show their best self to other, not the how angry they get, or how they like out of sense they get when things go worsen. So this should be also taken consideration before marrying. So divorcing is like this is the second step, or like our generation is like growing and getting to know all these things. But like those who are already married, they can, what I think that they can uh, separate out from each other and somehow manage, because as laws are, or if you are going to court for divorce, then both of the sides will have to suffer, and it may go long and long case, and even you have to pay a lot of money to get your right, and someone's right is others wrong, right? So this will always be remaining in their uh, side, that they are doing something wrong. And second part is that the alimony part. If like it is known that if a woman is working and a man is not, then woman should also be giving alimony to that man. Or even like if woman is earning 1 lakh per month and man is working getting 20,000 only, then also you have to normalize it. But how many marriages are going like this? I see that most of the marriages, like 99.9% marriages, are more like women are uh, going to those partner only who are much higher in their net worth. Their worth is higher, or they are financially more stable. So then we expect, like, we only see the scenario of domestic violence or things like that from the uh, like man is doing something wrong with the woman. And in fact, there are cases, I am sure there are cases where a woman is oppressing a man, and uh, only few cases get this kind of notice. And this Atul Subhash case is only the reason why people are so much angry, or so much like spreading this knowledge, just to show that there can be other side of this as well. So I think first of all, like women who are educated should normalize this, or not go for someone who are much higher in their uh, uh, than her, earning more than her. Or then I think the more the knowledge you have, the more arrogance you will get some time, like as the society has developed us like this. And yes, this is the point.
Thank you, Keshav. Prince, please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks, Rose. Firstly, great points. Now, on to the money part. I do agree that of course, I'm a staunch opposer of arranged marriage, so I can say this. Uh, the first thing a man is asked after, of course, his caste is how much money you make. And I would also link that to the issue or case of dowry, because the amount or the value of dowry is determined upon how much money you make, or how much parental wealth you have. And my basic argument is, if you are basing of a marriage on how much money a person makes, then Why do you expect the counterpart to stay when your financial situation differs? Because rightly said by Rose as well, that there are personal preferences, and these are of course anecdotal examples that uh, some people for some people finance is the greatest thing, for some prefer beauty the most, but some people like communication, and their partner should care for them, there should be mutual respect. So we can't, it's just the Bentham it's just the Bentham dilemma that happiness and sadness cannot be measured. You cannot say that it is a small issue. Every issue is big for a certain person. Now, just to end my argument, again, these are all anecdotal experiences. I've got no data as of now to back it. But we have almost, at least I have seen in my personal lives, that there are certain cases of physical violence in relationships. In my cases, I've also seen a distant relative where the female was being cheated. In one case, the man was being cheated, and these extramarital affairs. But uh, personally, I don't have any anecdotal experience, any much anecdotal experience of divorce, none to be exact. And we need to, come to an agreement that why there are so much experiences that we see in our societies day in and day out of uh, these not very good social behaviors, and that does not lead to any consequence. I mean, the only consequence at the present stage is for the woman, or if the woman is aware of 498A, then for the man. Now, this is a simple case of, and I guess someone also pointed out that divorce rate in love marriages are greater than arranged. The only reason is, i- before a woman is getting married, please go to his house, you'll understand this whole idea. See at the conditioning the parents, mostly mothers, give to their daughters. uh, See up to what extent they are made a submissive woman, and they are told perfect traits of what to do. I mean, I've seen cases where mothers were telling their daughters that they are men, mistakes happen, and of course, being a man, I liked it. But that's not how the situation should be. These kind of conditioning is extremely bad for social cohesion as well as mutual respect in the Indian society. I mean, if you are making one gender supreme to the other, then why are you expecting equality in any other sphere? If you're training them to, if you are kind of conditioning them to be superior, then to some extent, I don't even blame the people who are being patriarchal or who are being misogynistic, because they are trained like that from their parents. Yeah, Rose.
Right, great points made, Prince. I really agree with whatever you said. And again, yeah, like the conditioning, the kind of grooming that happens in an arranged marriage where the women get conditioned to accept whatever comes, even if it becomes detrimental to their life. That is just horrifying. Like, as a woman, I've seen that happening multiple times around me in this day and age to educated women who work full-time jobs and earn a great level of income. And as far as alimony goes, I agree that, you know, alimony sometimes can be misused by women, but it is not the question of who earns how much. There are still women who are dependent financially on their husbands. They are the primary caretakers and nurturers at home. Those women, when divorced, deserve alimony. And even if a woman earns less than a man, right? Unless she is the oppressor in that marriage, I don't think the man deserves alimony. This is quite a contrarian perspective, and anybody uh, willing to argue with me on this is free to do so. The reason why I believe that alimony becomes really important for women, even if they're earning, is because when I say women, please understand that I am talking about women who have given birth to children, because the brunt that a woman bears after having children, even if she wanted it herself, is just something a man cannot ever experience because of his biology, and he cannot ever understand because it is not a shared experience. The joy is shared. The kind of effects, the lasting effects that pregnancy has over a woman's body, a healthy woman's body, is unimaginable on the part of the man. That is why I think alimony becomes a great part of divorces. But even if the woman is earning less than the man and she does not have kids and a divorce happens, I might support not giving alimony to the woman. So I wanted to make my stance clear there. Anybody wanting to speak next? Yes, please, please.
Yes, yes, I agree to you when you said that if you have a child, then alimony is very important. And the I think it should not be a like we. I understand which part of community you are looking at, but some I have seen like some women they deliberately want a like their male partner to have a child with her, and the only reason like they are having this mindset, not all people are of same mindset, so that they get alimony of out of him or whatever his net worth is. Uh, if you I'm not sure, like for example, I recently I got to know about Kusha Kapila, if you know her. She was marrying to a guy, I think a Muslim guy, and same case happened with Sonakshi Sinha also. As they are more socially active, people like if you have a small like if you're something not good is happening to you, and it is on a small scale, like your few friends are are helping you to get out of it. But if you are in a social media or an influencer kind of person, then as I have seen most of her interviews, she was saying that my people are supporting me, and this actually make the things it worse. The way they are not taken, and like some people say that why the hell he did this to you, and make the things more worsen. Even those things are not at that considered to be that for the to have a divorce, right? So some women get a privilege, or the more like if you are in the society, the more people will have opinions for you, and the more it intense it would get. Even a small thing which happened with you that can be sorted out, or maybe like a small mistake her partner has did, and it can be sorted out. But the more people around you, and the more are the people around you, the more intense the small things will get if you publicly tell people, right? And so that's the thing. Yes.
I'm not sure if I'm on the right track with this, but what you mean is that couples publicizing their marriage contributes to more marital issues and hence may be more prone to divorce. Is that what you mean?
Yes, 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 other part of
Right.
this, yes.
So, yeah, I kind of agree with that because, sometimes you are prone to be swayed by others' opinion on what is right and what is wrong instead of looking at it more individualistically. But then again, publicizing a marriage is a decision on the part of both the couple. And if they choose to do said publicization and then they get swayed by outside opinion and get a divorce, I don't think anybody except for that couple is to be blamed, right?
Yeah, but for example, like Sonakshi and Kusha, both are only the female side is more popular than the male side. So you might have you seen this Latent show, right? Latent that Samir Raina show. There they say Balraj is a true gentleman. If you have heard that, so they only get to know about Balraj by looking at his behavior or knowing how he deals with uh, the tough situation. So if you are exposing yourself, if it is good, then people will support you, and they will just ignore some of the small mistakes you have done. But the other side is like I don't even remember the name of their husbands. So yes,
Yeah, I mean that is inevitable when one of the partners has more media presence. Like if you look at another celebrity couple, Natasha and Varun Dhawan, what do we know about Natasha? Not much, right? So there
yes,
is, yeah, like there is always going to be that, and one person's story is more visible because they have more media presence. Even before they got married, that was the case. So I think choosing to marry that person is the choice of that other person, right? For example, in case of Sonakshi, it was her husband's choice, despite knowing that her media fame may somewhat impact how their marriage is viewed. Same goes for Natasha and Varun Dhawan, right? I don't think we
yeah,
can really have an opinion on that one.
yeah, yeah.
I
But
mean, that's
All right,
but
subjective.
that
and I think we should like sum up and then we can take this into the unmod because from now on, people who are not there during the initial stage of this debate session, unmonitored sessions will be unrecorded starting from this session. So by 12:30, we will be wrapping up this debate and then the recording is going to stop and then we will all be free to discuss and debate in the unmod, which is unrecorded. So it is better that we start giving our concluding statements. Anybody who wants to go first, please raise your hand. Yes.
I don't have a huge speech for the concluding statement, but the only line I'll say is divorces in India should not be condoned, but they should not be condemned as well. Yeah, Rose.
Right. Anybody else? Keshav trying to speak? Yes, please go ahead.
yes, yes, yes. So to conclude, as like as while personal happiness is crucial, we should focus on addressing the reason behind these divorces rather than celebrating them as a sign of progress.
Right. Abhay, what about you?
So I just want to conclude with that, the divorce and marriage at some extent are the personal matters and the personal decision. So rather than taking as a reflection of the whole society, it should be just you know just be the just seeing as a just individual decision rather than the societal view.
Right. I think we are pretty much all on the same page that divorces should neither be celebrated nor be criticized because, again, it is something that is very individualistic in nature, and society should leave people alone to do whatever they want with their personal lives. I think we can end on that note, and we will now be moving into the unmod session, which will be unrecorded starting from today. So thank you so much. The recording is going to be stopping now. You'll be free to express your opinions.